I really love the Nintendo Switch. And it's a really great console. It's one of the best selling consoles of all time as of, 2025 September. It's closing in on the PlayStation 2 as the best selling console of all time. And we have a lot of really great games on the system. I wanted to talk about the Switch because I just really love this system. It's nearing its end of its life. Switch 2 is on the horizon, or basically it's already out. It's on the horizon for me because I haven't gotten one. So this is my original Nintendo Switch. I bought this at the end of 2018, I think. This is the Diablo Special Edition. The dock also has like a Diablo graphic. But I just wanted to talk about my Nintendo Switch collection. I have been collecting physical games for a long time, and ever since I got the Switch, I wanted to focus on getting physical copies of games, so physical games for the usually for me it's for the exclusive games, so the Nintendo published ones, and also some indie games and some games that I think fit better on the Switch. I have bought a lot of digital games also on the system, so that's also very fun. Maybe one day I will go through all my Switch games, but for today I wanted to talk about my physical collection. So, without further ado, this is the first one. This is 51 Worldwide Games, or also called Clubhouse Games, 51 Worldwide Classics on other parts of the globe. In the Northern American release, it has a different title, but this is one of my favorite and one of my most played title on the Switch because it's just really fun. It has a lot of awesome mini games, board games. There is even bowling in there, just like in Wii Sports. It's a bit more simplified, but I think even the graphics are really appealing and you can play it multiplayer mode. It's just fantastic. And I always keep this cartridge usually in my Switch. I think it has Mario Kart now, but it's just something where I just pick it up. I play it for like 10 or 15 or 20 minutes if I go somewhere, if I want to play some quick board games. And I actually think it has a really good tutorial as well. So it explains the rules of a lot of classic games like backgammon, and there is Nine Man's Morris and Blackjack, bunch of other traditional games. But you can also learn to play Mancala and others. It's just really fun, and I love it. Next up is something that is pretty much, it was a lifesaver for a lot of people back in 2020 when it came out. Animal Crossing New Horizons was really fun. So we had the COVID, we were in quarantines, and this game just came at the right time so everyone can enjoy it together. This and Doom Eternal at the same time. But I think it's just a testament from Nintendo's luck, I guess, in a lot of ways, that Animal Crossing came out just the right time. It was a getaway for a lot of people, including me. I put like more than 200 hours into the game, which is the most played game on my Switch. So that's really fun, and I really enjoyed it. And the updates came and went, and I think I played it from March until the end of the year. Pretty much the last event I did, I think it was the New Year's event in the game. But sometimes I still pick it up and check on my village. As you can see, they expanded a lot of stuff. There was even a DLC. I haven't played that, but I'm really looking forward to the next Animal Crossing. So the next one is a series I haven't really gotten into yet. It's Bayonetta. I wanted to pick this up because I have the first and the second one on other consoles. I have the second one on Wii U digitally, and then I have the first one on PS4. We will talk about that later. And Bayonetta 3 is something that's waiting for me in the future to play, although I didn't really vibe with the first game that much. I think it's a fun game, and it's really good that Nintendo has a bit more adult games. It's just a gorgeous looking game, and we waited for so long for Bayonetta 3, but I think for a lot of people it was a bit of a disappointment. But I still recommend these because support Nintendo for their more adult games. Next up is Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. So this is one of the first games that I picked up for the system. I only played it a little bit. I haven't really gotten into it, and that's a shame because it's a really fun game. It's basically a puzzle platformer where you are not able to jump, which is always interesting, and it's really tricky, but the levels are so nice. They have all these little dioramas, so you can rotate it and you can check out the stuff, and it's just really, really good. And also the Switch version has some new courses. So of course this game was on Wii U and 3DS, but yeah, I highly recommend it. It's one of the games that are not really talked about, but it's still very fun. So the next one is a bit interesting because these are exclusives in a physical form. This is Deadly Premonition Origins, and this is Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise. And I didn't even know that it has a physical version for Origins. So basically, I really wanted to pick up Deadly Premonition for the PlayStation 3 because that has like the move support, and it's basically the best version of the game. But then Nintendo announced that with their help, Deadly Premonition 2, the sequel, is coming out, and also they decided to re-release it. So here in Europe, it was released by Numskull Games, and I guess it's a lot of places as well. It was pretty tough to pick up. I randomly found it on an Austrian like marketplace sort of deal, basically like Craigslist for Austria. But yeah, it was really cool. I still haven't played it. It's a cult classic game. It's like Twin Peaks, a bit X-Files. It's like a horror type of deal, but also it's one of the most divisive game of all time. When it originally came out, it either got like ones or tens. So I'm really hopeful that I like the game. And then the sequel was like a big surprise back in the day when it was announced. So it's like, oh yeah, out of all of the games, Deadly Premonition is getting a sequel. Wow, that's crazy. That was, I think, everyone's reaction, but I picked these up for pretty cheap, and I think in the future they might be more expensive because outside of the PC, they are the only. So this is the only physical version, and outside of the PC, they are only on Nintendo Switch as of now. So that's pretty cool. And just any horror game on the Switch is always appreciated, especially from like bigger titles. So the next one is not an exclusive anymore. Originally it was an exclusive. It's Disney Illusion Island. I picked this up because, well, first of all, it was really cheap, and second of all, I just really like the art style. It looks a lot like Rayman Legends, which is a game I absolutely adore. And Disney Illusion Island looked like something that it's going to be similar. It's not totally similar, but I think it's a really fun game, and it just recently came out on the PS4 and Xbox, I think. And I hope that they keep making games like this because like the art style is really cool. It looks like one of those classic Disney cartoons. Next up is a classic, again, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I'm not the biggest fan of this game, but I appreciate it a lot because I have a lot of fun when I'm playing it, but I still haven't played through it. I found it a bit difficult, especially during like the fourth and fifth world in the game. Donkey Kong is really heavy to maneuver in a bunch of places, but the game is just full of so much creativity. It's really fun. I picked it up. So this was one of the early games that I picked up because it's just an exclusive that I always like to play. I always wanted to play, and it's really cool. The next one is Brain Training, or Dr. Kawashima's Brain Training for Nintendo Switch Classic and New Exercises with the stylus. Yes, this game came with a free stylus. As you can see, it's even branded Nintendo. So the brain training games are really fun, and weirdly enough, this one never got a release on North America. I guess there are rules that you cannot do, like, oh, this game is going to improve your brain or something. It's not legal to say there, something like that. And it's fun. I played it a bunch when it came out, but it didn't really get any updates or extra games. There are some good stuff in there, and I think I felt like I'm not really. So it's not like my brain is getting better, or I'm getting smarter, or something like that. But it was more like, oh, I'm getting better at these types of games. So, find the letter to spell a name, or you can play rock, paper, scissors with the Nintendo Switch IR camera, and you can train together. But the mini games are just like 4 or 5 mini games in total for 2 players, so it's not that fun. It's challenging sometimes, it's a really good feeling when you reach a new goal and the game detects your brain. It's like, oh, you're getting better, you are getting smarter. But in actuality, it's a bit shallow in gameplay. There are some innovative stuff, but it's like, okay, I'm just gonna play the piano on the console. Okay, I can just write this stuff. The stylus is really cool, and the game, of course, only works in handheld mode, which is also pretty unique, but I really dig this one. The next one is, yes, everybody's want to switch. Okay, I heard a lot of bad things about it, and to be honest, this is still way better than 1-2-Switch, because that's just like a big fat nothing. I like this inside art though, that's cool. And this one is a bit more, although yeah, you can only play it with friends. There is some online stuff as well, I think, maybe. But it's just a bunch of mini games. And the good thing is that it was really cheap. I only paid like $10 for it, which is for a first party Nintendo title. That is crazy. Crazy cheap, because, you know, stuff is expensive. But yeah, this game is, yeah, I think it's not as bad as some people say it is, but it's still like a weird, why are they doing this? If you want to play similar like mini games that are much deeper, you should play the Jackbox games, because those are fantastic. Okay, next one is an interesting one. So this is Ion Fury. So I was like randomly just checking out, oh, what are the games on Vinted for the Nintendo Switch that are pretty cheap. And you know, Ion Fury was there. The cover is in Spanish. It is basically like Duke Nukem, something like this, in the same style. It's a pretty fun shooter. Of course, it was made by 3D Ram, so it does look like Duke Nukem 3D. And it's good. It comes with some stickers, and it's not a manual. It's like I think it's an art book. Yeah. So, you know, I didn't really know much about this game, but it's a really fun little classic shooter. One of my all-time favorites on the Nintendo Switch is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This game is just so good that it made me a Kirby fan, although I would rather prefer just playing the 3D Kirby games if they come in the future. A couple of days ago, the expansion came. It's only on Switch 2, so eventually when I get my Switch 2, I want to buy the DLC for this, because that looks amazing, and the game itself is really cool. You can do the copy abilities. There is a lot of interesting stuff, bunch of collectibles. It is just my kind of game, and I find it just really good. It was such a surprise for me, because I expected that this game is going to be good, but the fact that it is that good, it is that high level of quality, it was just a really cool surprise. So next up is a third-party title, Klonoa Phantasy Reverie series by Bandai Namco. This is the first and the second Klonoa game. Sadly, the Klonoa Volleyball isn't there, or the Game Boy games, but this is still cool. I remember playing Klonoa on like a demo disc for the PS2 back in like, I don't know, 2003, 2004. And that was really fun. So I always had a bit of an interest in the series, but the games themselves are just so expensive on the PS1 and the PS2. It is just, I was never going to buy those. But then I found out about the remake, and I wanted to buy it originally on the PS5 version, but eventually I decided that it's, you know, still these are old games. So I was like, okay, it's better to play it on the Switch on portable mode, and yeah, they are really good and really high quality and very fun platformers. Alright, this is Mario Golf Super Rush. I picked it up because it was cheap. Plus, out of all of the Mario sports games, like Mario Tennis and Mario, what's it called, Strikers, this one is the most appealing to me. I like golf games. It's not a popular genre in a lot of ways, but especially like cartoony ones, like Everybody's Golf is really cool. And yeah, I still have to play this one because it looks interesting. There are some fun adventure modes there, and I just like golf games in general. Next up is something that I think almost everyone has in their collection, and that's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. There is not a lot to say about this game that's new. I just want to say that this is fantastic. So many tracks, and especially if you buy the DLC for it, this game is basically has more content than any other kart racer game. Maybe except for the Muppet Race Mania, because that one is crazy. Like, it has an insane amount of content. But yeah, this one is also really cool. I don't want to say anything else about it, because, I don't want to really waste a lot of time with that. Especially when we can talk about some other games, like Master Detective Archives Raincoat. So this is from the creators of the Danganronpa series, which is very near and dear to my heart. And of course, it's another third-party title. It was exclusive on the Switch for like, I'm gonna say 2 years, but at least 1.5 years. Since then, it came out on other platforms. It's really ambitious for other titles, especially that it's on the Switch. So this has sort of an open world design, which, the linear design of other Danganronpa series is not really there. It's really fun. There is a lot of investigation, there's a lot of puzzles to solve. It has that sort of same weird, sexy humor sometimes that makes you uncomfortable. It's a bit of these anime game tropes are still there, but if you can look through that and survive that, the game is really awesome, really fun, visually really appealing, even on the Switch, although it shows that it doesn't run on the Switch very well, but you can still pick up the PlayStation version, and that's also really good. And if you like the Danganronpa series, this is just so good, so good. Next one is a bit of an interesting title, because I think Metroid Prime for me is not really the type of game that I really like. I got a couple of hours into this. I haven't really gotten that far into the game, but I still feel like it's just such good quality, really fun, really interesting and kind of creepy vibes, and it's just a fantastic title. In the future, I want to give it another go, especially since it's just so good. You can feel how quality it is, and the graphics are just insane for the Nintendo Switch. I mean, this is probably the best looking Switch game on the system, because it's just so clean, and the water effects and rain effects and the shooting, it's just so good. And it was a budget title, so it came out like 30-40 bucks, which is really good. Another indie title that I found for really cheap, actually a friend of mine found it for me. It's My Friend Pedro, Blood, Bullets, Bananas by Devolver. It's a fun little side-scroller shooter type of deal. I always like to pick up indie games, especially if it's cheap, and also it's like a good fit for the Nintendo Switch, and I think My Friend Pedro is something like that. It's like John Wick but with bananas and frying pans, so that's really cool. Next up is Nintendo Switch Sports. I only played it a little bit. I think I picked it up because it came with its big box and everything was in there and barely used, because it comes with like it's there. It comes with a leg strap, as you can see, and you can play like volleyball and whatnot, and some sports are fun in there. Badminton's cool, and bowling. I would recommend it if you like the Wii Sports series and you want to get some serious time into it. But I think it's a bit more complicated in a lot of ways. You can get like skins and clothes for your characters, which is it's unnecessary, I think. But whatever. Next up is something that's another sort of kind of exclusive, and then it came to other platforms. No More Heroes 3. I picked it up for really cheap, so I was like, why not? This for me feels like a Switch game, and I like the inside cover. It's like, oh, goddamn superhero video cartridge and whatnot, so that's fun. And I like the style of Suda51. There is Lollipop Chainsaw, Shadow of the Damned, Killer is Dead, such great games. And I wanted to get into the No More Heroes series, but it is so hard to find the PlayStation 3 version of the first game, and I want to get that, and I cannot find it anywhere for at least like a normal price. And I've been searching for that game for like 6 or 7 years. I even went to like shops abroad and they just didn't have it, so maybe one day I will pick up the rest of the series. Next up is Paper Mario the Origami King. I tried the game, I didn't really like the combat, I'm sorry. I want to give it another go because it looks fun and a lot of people are praising the story. But I don't know. This like whatever 360 attack game style, I don't know, I just didn't like it that much. Although what I did like is Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. This game is so good. Such a classic game, so fantastic. I actually played this on the GameCube a little bit, but then I wanted to get my own copy. It's hard to find that, but then when Nintendo announced that they are going to get a remastered, they are going to make a remastered version of this, I just, had to get this. It's such a fantastic, quirky game. There are some surprisingly deep stuff in the story and the gameplay as well. It's like it took me 20, 25 hours, maybe 30 to beat it, but every single minute is so good. Every chapter of the game always has trick in it. There are some surprisingly emotional stuff as well, so this is just something that I highly, highly recommend. It's one of the best RPGs on the system. And probably the best RPG on the system is Persona 5 Royal, but you can say to any system when Persona 5 came out on those systems, because this is just peak RPG. I just love it. I played it on the PlayStation 4, so I have the normal version, I played that. I have the Royal version on PS4, and I was hesitant because I really wanted to play the game again. And if I ever play the game again, I wanted it to be on the Nintendo Switch as a handheld game, because I started the Persona series myself with Persona 4 Golden on the PS Vita, and I just love that game. And Persona 5 Royal is always amazing. So when it became cheap, there was a sale on it, I have to choose between the PS5 version of Persona 5 Royal, because I don't have that one, or the Switch version, and I think I choose with the Switch version. So it was so long after the game came out and everyone wanted it on the Switch, and it was like, oh, petitions were made and people were like, oh, this would be a perfect fit. But by the time it came out, it wasn't really a big, huge surprise. But I think it's still worth playing on the Nintendo Switch. Plus, Atlus is really pushing for all of these Persona games, and all their other games are now multi-platform, coming out on the Switch. Persona 3 Reload is going to be released on the Switch too, so that's just great news. These games are getting more and more mainstream, and I think they are such high quality, so good. They are really, really worth it. So the next one is a bit of a controversial, and now it's an expensive game. This is Super Mario 3D All Stars. It contains Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and of course Super Mario Galaxy. Now this one was really controversial at the time, because Nintendo released it as a limited release, so it was only available until the Mario 35th anniversary celebrations were there, which is, well, I'm gonna say this, it was stupid that they didn't re-release this, or they didn't really keep it in the in stock, I guess, and you cannot even buy the game digitally anymore. So yeah, it's gotten pretty expensive. Basically, it's worth double the price. So it was 60 and now it's a $120 price game. And it's worth it, I think, for the original price. I picked it up at launch because, Nintendo said it's gonna be limited. So who knew how many copies are going to be released. And you can still find these. So it's sold like 10 million copies, but still, a lot of people didn't buy it as investment. And if somebody wants to pick it up now because they actually want to play the classic 3D Marios, then, well, they are out of luck and they have to pay a pretty penny for these games, which is a shame because these games should be for everyone. They are really good, but I think it makes sense that Nintendo pushed it as a limited release because they can maximize profits with that. And people had a lot of time to pick these up. It was available for, I think almost like a year. You could still find it on store shelves, and when I worked at a video game store, we got like, you know, refills from that. So, or we got another copies if somebody wanted to pick it up. But now people are complaining about it because they, you know, didn't pick it up in time. Next up is something that I was really happy when it was announced and released on the Switch. This is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. 3D World is, I think, one of the most underappreciated Mario titles, because, you know, you have the Galaxy games and you have the, you know, Sunshine and even Odyssey, and then this one on the Wii U was like, people weren't really convinced about the art style and the 2.5D style of the game or look of the game. But, you know, this is just some really fun and really high quality Mario stuff. There is a lot to say about this game, but, you know, we gotta move on. And the next one is actually something that was also really good. Super Mario Bros. Wonder. We waited for so long for a new original 2D Mario games. I think the last one before this were the new Super Mario Bros. Series, which is I like those. I played the first one on the DS, but I think everything after this was just like repeat stuff on repeat and again and again. And Super Mario Bros. Wonder is something great. The sort of wonder effects and how the stages transform, it's just crazy. And every single stage transform. Every single stage has some surprise. There are new power-ups. It's just a joy to play. And of course, there is the main Mario game, main 3D Mario game for the Switch. And we are still waiting for a brand new Mario game. After 8 years now? Yeah, so Super Mario Odyssey is just fantastic. It was the first game that I actually picked up for the Switch. I was thinking I either pick up this or Breath of the Wild, and I think I did the right choice of picking this one up because it's such a fun time, and just all in all it's an amazing game with the transformations, with Mario throwing the hat and you can possess certain animals and objects and NPCs and enemies and whatnot. It's just fantastic. If you have a Switch or even a Switch 2, this game is a must-have. And another must-have game is probably one of the best fighters of all time, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This was actually the first Smash game that I played for real. I only tried a little bit of the first one, and I haven't played any other ones yet. But Smash Bros. Ultimate was just such a fun time. I mostly played the single player stuff, which is, I don't know, it's weird, but I still found those stuff that really fun. Just so many characters. The roster is just huge, and even the single player spirits mode with the spirit board and whatnot, and you can unlock the characters. That's just really good. And you know, this became the best selling fighting game of all time. It just sold crazy good, and because it's just really good. And you can find a bunch of DLC characters as well, so you can always have your favorites. I had a couple of mains. I played mostly with Captain Falcon and the Villager, and I also played with like Zero Suit Samus and Bayonetta. So yeah, it's a really good game. Now we are going to be talking about the Zelda games. I have all the physical Zelda games, the main series ones. I don't have the Hyrule Warriors games because I don't really care about those. But Breath of the Wild is basically what launched, no, not just basically, but it just launched with the Switch, and it was one of the catalysts of the Switch's success, I think. Just like open world and creativity, and it's one of those games that I would love to just, you know, forget everything about it and play it for the first time again, because it's just so good. And the next one is, well, actually, let's talk about both of these. This is Link's Awakening, and this is Echoes of Wisdom. I actually have the big box, like collector's edition, which I think I will talk about this in a short video sooner or later. But yeah, Link's Awakening, just a fantastic remake, just an amazing game. It's just the music, how the game looks, and it's one to one with the Game Boy Color game or the Game Boy game. Game Boy, was it a color game? No, originally it was a Game Boy original game. Yeah, so it's just such a faithful recreation but also it adds so much with the new art style, and it just makes it so good. So I highly recommend this one. And this is the new one from last year, Echoes of Wisdom, and it's also really good. I also found it really fun. It's basically the Breath of the Wild of the 2D classic Zeldas, which is, give you creativity. You can build stuff, you can create stuff, and you can, for example, like stacking with the bed is also a really good way to just, go through any and all obstacles, which is really good. And yeah, it's just such a wonderful time, such a fantastic game, and both of these in the same engine. The only problem with these is they don't really run that well on the system. So if you want to play these games, maybe you should, and if you already have a Switch too, then the games run much better. And the next one was Skyward Sword HD. Now this game was interesting because this is basically the Vi's underrated and underperformed original Zelda games. And I was always scared to play this because with the moving controls and the weird stuff in there. But I was really glad that Nintendo decided to release this one because it's a really, really good game. I think it's underappreciated. The story is amazing, and you can now play with buttons only, so you don't have to have the waggle your controller stuff, and it's much better that way with the button controls. It's still a bit weird. Some of the sword movement translate differently onto analog sticks, but I'm gonna say this is like an underappreciated and really fun Zelda game. And it was also something that was surprising to me, that this had a lot of stuff that later would be reused in Breath of the Wild, and then like the climbing mechanics and shooting stuff and whatnot. And I think that's something that's really important about this one, that without this, Breath of the Wild wouldn't be the same as it was. And last but not least, for the Zelda games, this is Tears of the Kingdom. I have an unopened copy because I used to have 2 copies of the same game, but I have the collector's edition, and this is the unopened copy that I have from that because I sold the opened copy. So basically, this is just the magnum opus of the Zelda games on the console. You can create your own vehicles, and it's just so crazy, so many things to do. And I think that was something that really resonated with me. That's why I wanted to replay Breath of the Wild, to relive the building and relive the exploration of that game for the first time. And this game gave me that. I was a bit more, how do I say this? I was a bit more experienced by the time I played this game. So I knew about a bunch of mechanics from Breath of the Wild, but the game itself is playable by itself, and it's just really good. I think this is also something where I eventually, when I get a Switch 2, I might get the upgrade, so I can play the game in 60 FPS and higher quality, because the Switch struggles with this game a bunch, just like with Breath of the Wild. It's playable, but yeah, by the time this game came out in 2023, I wanna say, the Switch was, aging quickly, and yeah, it shows its age, and the Switch is struggling with this one, but still, even if you only have a Switch, it's worth it. So there is only 3 games left, and both are third-party titles. So I don't have that many third-party titles for the Switch. Starting with Untitled Goose Game by House House. I already had a digital copy, but I saw this for cheap, and I was like, yeah, I think Untitled Goose Game is a game that deserves for me to have it with the physical edition, especially that the physical edition comes with this, with a map and this little booklet, like a catalog for all the stuff you can have in the game. Such a fun little silly and cute game where you are a duck, where you're a goose and you may do some mayhem. And of course it got lit. See, I've been talking for like 35 minutes and my tongue is starting to get knots on them. I'm starting to lose my mind when talking. But basically, Untitled Goose Game is really fun. And it, after like a year maybe, it got a big update. And you can play it as Untitled Geese Game. So it's like 2-player co-op, which is good. And it's just a fantastic title. I always gonna say this, but Katamari games are some of my favorites. And you know, We Love Katamari Reroll, when it came out, I was really happy. Couple of weeks and another one, Once Upon a Katamari, is coming out. So I'm just so excited and so happy. This series is awesome. The music is awesome. The visuals are awesome. The gameplay is fantastic. It's so much fun. And I'm so happy that Bandai Namco is releasing these games, because these are just some of the most unique, some of the most fun, some of the most creative and colorful games. And I always love these titles. And I wanted to pick up the PlayStation 5 version, because usually I pick these games up on PlayStation, or you know, I can just pick them up wherever I want to, but I couldn't find the PS5 version. I think for my country, Hungary, they only released the Switch version, or at least that was the one that was only readily available at launch. But you know, I was still happy to pick it up on the Switch, because just like a physical Katamari game is the best. And last but not least, I have one more title that is my only Japanese Nintendo Switch game, and this is Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. So I'm really into the Ace Attorney games. I played the first 5 games and just started the 6th title in the series. And when they announced this one, I was like, oh yeah, what is this? A classic DS game, and they are going to release it. And I'm like, oh yeah, where can I get a physical copy? Because they announced the game, but they didn't announce the physical copy. And then I saw it that Play Asia had one. And the good thing is that when Capcom releases a game like this in Japan, then it's gonna have English in it. And it does, and it's great, and Play Asia gives you stickers. So yeah, it's completely an English version. It's a really fun and really unique detective game. Basically, you can interact with a bunch of objects and make connections between them, and you are this ghost and you have to investigate your own death. So it's pretty fun. I highly recommend it. And yeah, I'm happy that I got the physical version, because it's always better if you have a physical version of these titles. The Nintendo Switch is such a fun little system. There are so many good games. I could go on and on about these titles for a long time. I used to have more games, but I traded some of them in because, you know, I wasn't going to play them again, or I just didn't like the games that much, like with Mario Maker. So I don't have all the physical copies that I used to have. But I think the Nintendo Switch is something where in the future, if you collect these games and if you want to play these games, they are going to be readily available, except for, you know, 3D All Stars. But also, it's just such a fun system. So many great games that I can highly recommend. And I'm just really happy. I really like collecting for the Nintendo Switch. But I think as much as I can see, the Switch 2 generation will be much more different, and we are going to have some less fun with getting the game cards. Although I think if I ever pick up Switch 2 and with their Switch 2 games, I still want to prefer the physical titles, especially with Nintendo releases the games, they are on the game cards, so that's gonna be fun. It's a really long video, so thanks for watching. If you stayed until the end, I hope you like this, and don't forget to subscribe. My first Switch video did really well, so I hope the second one can do, you know, like a part, how can I say that, certain percentage of that. And if you like this video and you stayed until the end, leave a comment. What are your favorite Switch games? Maybe subscribe and like the video. And as always, thanks for watching.